Hi Yash.
Hello.
Yeah, hi. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Great. All right. So it's a minute and more. We'll take some time. So 2, 3 minutes more and we'll start the session. Yeah.
Easy. No
Yes.
worries.
Yeah. Rakesh, can you please mute yourself? All right. So I think people will join in. Yash. So we'll start the session. So everybody who has joined in, welcome on board. This is Ankita here from Education State, and today we are here for a very interesting campus to career session, which we call as with a very interesting student who's done really well. So I also call it as a story of glory. This webinars are. We are doing it in Australian time. That's why we have in the middle of the day. I mean, not middle, but middle of the evening, 6 o'clock, because we couldn't stress him much more. It's too much to ask from the student. It's already because he's in the southern hemisphere, so it's 10:30 if I'm not wrong, right? Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's 10:30 in the
Yes,
night.
yes,
Yes.
yes. Because normally we do it at 9 o'clock at night because people are
Yeah.
free, but that would be too late for you. So, bringing in before we introduce to our speaker and our student today, at Education Street, uh, the person who I'm going to host along with Yesh, it's me, Ankita. Personally, I'm the director of Education Street. Apart from that, academically, I'm an IT engineer. I have studied in University of Leeds to do my MBA after I worked with Tech Mahindra as a software engineer. Post worked with British Petroleum in London and moved back and started my own firm. So this is how I am in front of you, a decade and more, and I've been counseling and mentoring students across the world for masters, bachelors, and PhDs. Personally, I have a daughter, I have a hustling husband. I love traveling. Most of the countries I send students, I've been there. 32 countries now plus that I have traveled myself. So I really, really love what I do, and I'm very much fixated to mentoring students. So that's about me, just to know who I am. And here is our speaker, our hero for today. So that's Yash Sinha. He was a student who went to Monash University, one of the group of 8 university in the world and in Australia. It's an Ivy League university, a group of 8, what they call as in Australia. So it's a very, very prestigious one. And he studied his Masters of Banking and Finance. It doesn't stop there. He is now working with PwC, which is one of the most sought after employer for most of the students who start their journey out at their dream companies. Uh, not all, but a lot of people wish to work in these companies. So that's about him, and he would love to talk to you all. Before he starts, I just want to request Yash, uh, please let us know everything that you would like the student community to know. The
Right.
good, the bad, I would say everything. I am not a counselor who just wants to have a goody picture, so a rosy picture. What will
Mm.
help them? The hacks. So I know nothing is complete, but of course, there are hacks to work around. So those things. And I would say, as I said at the start, it's the story of glory. So don't be modest. Don't be humble.
Mm.
Let us know all out what you've
Mm.
achieved, how you have done, and how you've been doing and stuff. So go about and let us know your story about it. So saying this, starting with the session, because of course you've chosen Australia as your study point. How Australia has been, I would start asking you about, and how was your decision to go to Australia as per, the other countries?
Right. Okay. So for everyone who's joined us today, Ankita ma'am has done a fantastic job of explaining about herself and a little bit about me, but I'll add something more from my personal point of view. So I've done my bachelor's from India, from Mumbai itself. And when I was doing my bachelor's, I was doing it in law, and I went to government law college. I contacted Ankita ma'am when I was in my final year of law, which is my fifth year, primarily with the motive of understanding what I can do in terms of going forward, since law is a degree which is very local to the place you study it from. So if you're doing it from an Indian college, you probably work in India. My idea was to take a pivot in my career early because I realized that finance and being in the financial world is something which appeals more to me. And based on this decision, I started looking at countries where I could go on to do a master's in. So, Australia had opportunities such as this degree at Monash University, which I could study, and my previous credits from law would also apply, and I was eligible to study a master's degree over here. Now, ever since that, I've finished my degree in banking and finance, but life is funny and no education goes to waste. So now, when I'm working at
Absolutely.
PwC, the team which they have recruited me for is the tax consulting team. Now, the thing about tax is it's um, a multi-discipline stream, and most of the people that they recruit do a double degree at Monash, which is a bachelor's of law and bachelor's of commerce. So this is
Oh,
one, yeah, this is one degree which is extremely popular in countries because Australia allows for dual degrees all the time, and students take this because it opens up a lot of opportunities for them. So law and commerce is a stream which they really want to do here and is really well sought after. So my previous education of having done a law degree in India combined with my degree in banking and finance, which is a commerce related stream over here, I was able to shoehorn myself into this role at PwC, which is in the tax consulting sphere, because this requires both having a legal acumen but also having knowledge about finance and accounting or everything else that there is. So, yeah, that was the reason why I chose to study. And I saw an opportunity that I could go to Australia and be able to make this pivot. And Monash, as you said, is a really good university. It's a group of 8 universities. So if one has an option to study from there, like they should really consider it.
wow. So that was a very interesting thing that you mentioned, that nothing goes waste,
Mm.
and all comes a puzzle. It's like, actually it's a puzzle which keeps shaping up, and you find a missing piece, and it's a journey, a continued journey. This is exactly what I tell students, that don't think about your lifetime career. It will shape up, and it would be, just think about the next 5 years, and you would be bringing in that value to yourself. So I think you wonderfully put that. Saying this, so you spoke about Australia, you spoke about the university, you spoke about the dual degrees out there. So personally, I would first like you to share that how as an Indian student your experience have been in the studying part, the academic side of Australia? Was it very difficult? Was it very easy? Was it very enriching? How is it? How would you talk about that?
Okay. Before I answer this question, I just want to touch upon something which you said earlier, which was that I'll just give you the true picture, and I don't mean to like roast into anything, and I'll just say it as it is, and I'll
Correct.
just give you the complete clear idea of
Yes.
how it is to study over here.
Yeah.
So what happens generally in countries like Australia is that you will find that 40%, 50% of the students are coming in from countries like China. So what this happens in university
That is,
now you're
but actually
studying.
worldwide, even in like
Yeah,
US or anywhere. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
right. So the ramifications of this is that the degrees are dumbed down a little.
Oh.
So yeah. So what happens is because they want international students to keep coming, but also they want them to pass. So it wouldn't be as hard as studying a degree as say it would be in the US. After speaking to my friends who've gone there, I've understood that it's not easy to do a degree over there. It's hard. Not saying that it's easy in Australia, especially in Monash. If you do something like engineering, you will have to work extremely hard and you will have to put a considerable amount of time into passing your courses because it's continuous. Like your 12 weeks will go like anything. You wouldn't have the time to do much apart from uni. But if you put in the effort, you can excel or do well in university because the university has dumbed down the degrees a little bit to cater to the international students over here. Other than that, what you get out of a university is truly what you put into it. No one else will ever like force anything down your throat. Once you go to uni, you realize that no one's asking you to come to classes. There's no attendance
Correct.
requirement, firstly. There's no tutorial requirements. It's totally upon you. If you want to go, you go. If you don't want to go, you don't go. They're not going to chase you. So,
But
two
that
people
would
in
have
the
some
same,
repercussions.
it depends on the it depends on the course. So, say for example, you're studying biomed. In biomed, you have to do a lab because it's so practical. Or if you're studying nursing, you have to go for your practicals because that's when you learn. But you're say on the flip side, you're doing a degree like commerce, where whatever they teach in a tutorial, you can also learn at home. So in those degrees, going to labs or tutorials or not going to labs or tutorials does not have any negative ramifications. But for degrees which are more practical, like biomed, nursing, or mechanical engineering, when they have labs or tutorials, you get marks for going to them. And you can't pass a unit unless and until you go for them.
Okay.
So it's
Okay.
really degree dependent.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Um,
I think I cut you in between.
yeah, no,
You
what was
were,
the
yeah,
initial?
you were
Yeah.
talking about the how difficult or how easy it is.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Yeah. Again, I think I was going to say that two people doing the same course can have a completely different experience in university based upon how they approach uni. If someone wants to really get the most out of it, there are ample opportunities. There are so many student-run teams at Monash, especially that you can really learn a lot and you can really get a lot of practical experience, and people are wonderful. You will make the best friends over here. But on the flip side, if you don't go to classes, like you won't get a lot out
Of
of it.
course. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think being in a foreign soil and being there, it's all about gathering as many experiences you can by meeting people, going out there.
Yep.
That is being a share. Can you please mute yourself? Yeah, sorry. Yeah. So I think that is definitely there what you say, that it's all about going out and making the opportunities or experiences come your way. So
Yep.
yes, you spoke about that. Yeah, it differs depending on the course that you're going in, and it's very much possible for an Indian student to crack it, right?
Yep. Yes.
Academically. So
Yeah.
now moving further to the after the academics, of course, along with academics also comes a journey which most of the students would like to do, and that is working part time, because
Mm.
you need or you don't need it, but part time is also a part of studying abroad, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and there are, of course, we being Indians, and there's nothing wrong in it, but we are sensitive about how much money we are spending, right? Out there.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, how do you talk about, or how do you think the part-time scenario is in Australia, and does it really help students to remove their part-time expenditures? Sorry,
Okay.
their living expenditures. Sorry.
Okay. So one thing which, like, as Indians, we don't, when we are in India, we never do anything, right? Like our parents are fully funding us. Once you come over here, you see that these people, like the locals over here, they're working from the age of 15. That's the legal age that they start working. Most
Oh,
of
is
my
it?
friends will, yeah, I
Oh,
think maybe
I thought
even
it's 18
14.
across the world. Yeah.
No, and over here, it's, I think, legally 14 or 15. In India,
Oh,
that's child labor.
yeah. Yeah.
So you'll find these kids working in McDonald's or you find them working in Subway. And it's really, really different to what we've seen or what we've grown up around. Everyone you meet or most of the people you meet will have a part-time job, no matter who they are, even if they're Indians, even if they're internationals or locals, because it's something which you should do. Um, it really helps with the expenses as well, because let's face it, it's a really expensive country. Living over here is not cheap at all.
Agree.
Speaking about part-time, there's 48 hours in a fortnight, which a student can do. So that's 24 hours a week, if I'm not wrong. And the minimum wage is extremely high. I think it's the highest in the world. I
Yeah.
think it's around $24. People can do the math themselves. You might make
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
$2,000 a month. Yeah, that's enough for you to take your expenditure out. But depending on that would not be the right way to go about things. These
Correct.
things are very volatile in nature. You might get work, you might not get work. So everyone should have like backup funds and not rely on this. That's what I'm trying to say. But other than that, the aspect of doing a part-time job is something which is seen really positively, because even if you're applying for grad roles after finishing uni, they look at these things positively. So
Oh,
skills are transferable. So say you work in a customer facing role, that will be looked upon positively by your future employers. That shows them that you're comfortable talking to people around you and that you know how to interact with people coming from various different backgrounds.
got it.
Um, More about part-time jobs. Are they available? Yes. University students do get part-time jobs. I've done one myself. So most of the students work in like Kohl's or Woolworths. These are like the supermarkets over here.
Correct.
And yeah, it's not really difficult to get them. You might have to say you land today. It might take you 2, 3, 4 months to get one. But once you get it, and if you're doing a good enough job, if you're serious, you show up on time, you will keep it. And it's nice to have some additional income for your expenses. You could put it towards rent, you could put it towards going out or whatever you want to do.
Absolutely. So Yash, I think this gives a lot of boost and confidence, because it's very important to know that there is an opportunity. You get
Mhm.
it immediately is not the direct worry, because yes, anybody understands, 1, 2, 3 months you settle down, and you find your opportunities and stuff and everything. And as you said, the volatile period, but I have seen personally, which I would like your opinion also on it, that if you try well enough, it's not that you don't get it in Australia. It's quite available for you.
Yeah, absolutely. You could just say you're applying online, you're not getting it. Just print out your resume. There are thousands of places, especially in industries like hospitality or working in a restaurant. They always need people working in a bar. They always need someone. They're always running out of people. Just get your resume printed out, walk in to 20, 30 places. You will get a job. It might be anything, but all jobs are equally respected. So, yeah, it's not the hardest thing in the world to
Yeah.
get a part-time
Yeah.
job. Yeah.
Yeah, no, why this makes a very big point for people who are considering to Australia, I'll tell you, Yash, because it's not similarly or patent, or it's not that available in other countries equally, in the notion
Mm,
what Australia does. Because Australia, as you said very rightly, they pay the highest in the world per hour. So around 20 to $25 is the range which they normally pay. You're allowed to work from the day you land. You may not get it the day you land, but you're allowed, at least the thing
absolutely.
says that.
Yep.
And you're allowed to work on campus and off campus both. All these rules are not, they are not there. These opportunities are not there the other places,
Right. Yeah.
only on campus you're allowed the first year. And uh,
Okay.
yeah, and the pay wages are not this much. So
Mm,
all these things matter, because
mm,
this brings you or helps you to conclude that Australia may or may not suit you. That is
yeah,
why, it's very
absolutely.
important. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So,
And it's not just that. I mean, 20 to 24, you say that's the legal minimum that they pay you. Say you're working on a Saturday, there's something known as a penalty rate, or a Sunday. You're coming in to work on a Sunday, they will pay you twice your base wage. So there might be a day where you're
I
making $60 an hour. I've done it. Like I've worked 2 weekends at the university. They were paying me 50 hours. Like, why are they paying me so much? Like I'm not even doing anything. But yeah, if you work on a public holiday, it's even more. So in terms of making money through jobs, there is ample opportunity through part-time jobs for sure.
Yes, that sounds like a really big opportunity for students, because I knew about Christmas days and stuff.
Yeah.
I knew about that, but you're
Public
talking about
holidays.
normal
Yeah.
weekends also. That sounds like really, really an opportunity to hit. But
Yeah.
saying all this, I also want to tell students, which I always tell them, that all this is hard work. All this is hard work.
Yeah.
I always tell that, if you want comfort, you are right here in, where
Mm.
you are right now. But if
Yeah.
you, all this which she's talking about, students, is also a lot of hustle. I'm sure, Yash, you will agree to it, and you
Yeah.
will
Yeah.
tell them that how
It's not
has it
as
been? Yeah,
it's not as easy as just going there and
absolutely,
thinking.
absolutely. I want you to bring that point also. As I
Yeah.
told you, I want them to know, because they should be prepared for the hustle that they are coming in for.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more because plenty of people will struggle in getting a job and they really need one as well. And if you're someone who's stuck in that situation, then it's really bad because living expenses are through the roof over here. Paying rent, buying groceries is something a lot of people now are struggling with because of how expensive the country has gotten. There's yesterday I read something which was plastered on a wall over here, that which basically said that there's a problem in this country which people are not talking about. More people now than ever are struggling to put food on the table. So there is a cost of living crisis over here as well. Rents are through the roof, groceries are through the roof. So people coming over here should be mindful of that as well.
Yeah. So mindful that you have to work harder to actually achieve and meet the ends. So in
Yep,
that case, yes, opportunities are there, but it's something which you have to be capable also for,
yep,
to
absolutely.
achieve this. So as an employer will always see what is the give and take here.
Yeah,
Correct? Yeah.
yeah.
So, moving from the part time, so you've established a very good understanding about how part times are, and how it could be bringing in about Australia as a country, because you just spoke about the crisis situation or whatever,
Mm,
in that case and stuff. Is it something which, because I personally feel every country goes up and down,
yeah.
it's all in there. And for me, from my career of almost 14 years and plus, I've seen so many economies doing it, but of course a lot of them survive it, like we've survived COVID, so forget this. Correct,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So saying this, I just want to ask you ki, as a country first, not about current scenario, but as a country, Australia, normally parents ask me this, Yash, that is it very racist, or
Mm,
is it very comfortable for Indians to be there? So I
mm.
want you to talk about that, that how do you feel as Australia being a host country to you, how your experience has been in Australia
Okay.
as a country
Uh, yeah.
and people.
Biggest shock for me was how friendly everyone is. Like the way that they
Ah,
talk. Yeah. You wouldn't expect that, but people in general are really friendly towards you. Um, been lucky to not experience any sort of racism so far, but it does happen. People online have spoken about it as well. And Australia, I think, is pretty known, infamous for being racist. But I would just like to say, if you're on campus, it's the safest place you could be. Like, if you're studying at an educational institute, you will not face any sort of things like ever. It's just a big no-no. It's never going to happen. So in terms of that, like students who are planning to go can be pretty assured that it's nothing bad is going to happen. It's all in that sense, it's all good. Outside of work, if you go to the city at 10 p.m. on a Saturday and there's a homeless guy over there, like he might shout a few things. So that is something which you just have to be careful about where you're putting yourself out in. Overall, uh, I think people should be pretty confident in the fact that there's not a lot of racism as you would normally expect there to be in Australia. Because I've been here for 3 years now, and I've been not just in Melbourne, I've been in Melbourne, Sydney, Queensland, and really remote parts as well, like to travel. And so far, I've had only positive experiences.
Wow. So yeah, we all know, so it's not about Australia, it's everywhere, right? Yes, it's even
Yeah,
our own country. We have to be cautious where we go and not be in the situation or not try to prove your point, but move out. Like as you said about a homeless guy, could be some youths as well or whatever. That's not the best time to prove your Indianness or your strength or your understanding and your agenda. So I would say it's best to move out of those places. But I would say uh, uh, what people talk about as a country to tag them as racism is not something racist, is not something which would be rightful. As you are saying that you travel so much in Australia, uh, it's the wrong people that you meet, right? And that can happen anywhere.
absolutely.
Like how we tag people being our own country, like how we are not comfortable with people from different states and we,
Right.
make comments over them and stuff. So I think it's the same thing. It's all about the vendetta that certain people carry and some don't.
Absolutely. And it really depends upon like who you are, how you present yourself. If you're doing the wrong things, you will attract wrong things. But if you're someone who's like a positive person and you're doing the right things, then only good things are going to happen as well.
Yash, how beautiful you spoke about the energy attraction. Wow. What you give in the universe, you get that back.
No, literally. But yeah, having said that, like, especially what you're seeing in the world right now, there is a lot of racism, especially against Indians. Like online, if you open Instagram, it's a mess. So that definitely exists, but that exists more online than it exists in real life. Real
Yeah,
life
yeah.
is much
Online, I don't know
different.
what all exists. Yeah. Body shaming, everything exists. Everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Absolutely, absolutely. So, good to know. Like you've traveled so much in Australia now, saying that you have been comfortable and safe. You feel safe is what I wanted to ask, right?
Yeah.
You do
Yeah.
feel safe out there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's something which is very important because that cannot be compromised at any go, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that cannot be
Absolutely.
compromised. Yeah.
Yeah.
So saying about now your journey, very important journey. So students who have joined in, he's studied and now he's cracked a job with a very big employer, established employer, which we all know, that is PwC, Price Water Cooper House. So I would love to know, Yash, your understanding, no, your journey first, how you cracked the job, how was your job hunting and everything, and
Yeah.
yeah, we'll continue with that area. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, just a little clarification. I have the job offer, but my job role starts in Jan of next year.
Great. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
so I
Yeah.
haven't
Yeah.
started working yet. So
Yeah.
far, I
Yeah. We want to
only
know the
get
journey
invited.
only. Yes. We are interested
Yeah,
in that.
but
Yeah.
I think even so far, what people really want to know is how you get a job, how you apply for a job,
Absolutely.
not what I'm
Absolutely.
doing in a job.
Yes.
So I guess I can answer all those
Yeah,
questions
yeah, yeah.
pretty.
That was only the main agenda to
Yeah,
understand about how you cracked the job, how your job journey started, first of all,
yeah,
like in
yeah.
which semester and stuff, and what all you did, and how
Right.
did you crack it. Yes.
Yeah. So I'll tell you. the basic fundamental about getting employed in major companies in Australia. There's something which is known as a graduate program. And all companies recruit early careers through their graduate program entry. Now, these open twice every year. First is from Jan to around March, April. That's when you apply. Um, you do an online interview, you do a digital interview. If you get through that, you do an in-person interview, but I'll get to that slowly. But the Jan to March, April is the main intake, and then the second half of the year, I think around September is the second intake. And most of these jobs are recruiting for the next year, for the incoming year.
Okay.
So if you are a final year student
Hmm.
with 1 year left on your degree, or you are someone who has recently graduated, you are eligible to apply for these jobs, which are
Okay.
known as graduate program jobs. And
Okay.
all big employers will employ exclusively through this way. And there's no other way of doing it.
Okay.
Small employers, you might apply directly to the website or through LinkedIn or whatever, but I'll only talk about like the bigger employers over
Correct.
here.
Correct.
Yeah. So a little prequel before that, before I started my job, I also had an internship over here. So
With PwC.
no, not with PwC.
Okay.
So at Monash, they have um, opportunities for current students to gain industry exposure.
Okay.
So if you're an engineering student, it's something known as an IBL, which is an industry-based learning. So you work with one company for 6 months. That's a fantastic opportunity. If someone gets in, it's almost a guaranteed return offer for them to work full time. Over someone who's studying a business degree like myself, they also have internship opportunities with handpicked companies, and you apply. And then it's upon the company to view your application, view your interview. If they like you, they take you. And it might be for 3 months. So from November 2023 till Feb 2024, that's 3 months, I was interning at a financial services firm over here in Melbourne itself. I finished my degree in Feb of 2024 as well. So that was what I was doing before I had my job. Around the same time, I started applying for these graduate positions, like I told you. And I applied to God knows how many. I applied for thousands of jobs. And how it goes is you go on the website, you do upload your resume, and then there's a bunch of questions that they ask you, screening questions. Once your application gets screened, once they know that you have the relevant visa and the working rights to continue working in Australia, you get invited to the next round, which is a digital interview. So it's a pre-recorded question, like
Okay.
five
Oh.
pre-recorded questions, because they get so many applications, right? They get tens and thousands of applications, and the intake might be for 100 people.
Hmm.
So you do a digital interview with them, and this is someone the digital interview is pre-recorded, the questions are pre-recorded, but after you submit that, someone is viewing it. And if they like your application, if they like your resume, and if they like your digital interview, then they call you for something which is known as an assessment center.
Okay.
In an assessment center, in my assessment center, maybe there were 100 people over there. So out of the 10,000 people who applied to PwC, 100 people were selected
Filter.
finally, yeah,
Okay.
for the assessment center. In the assessment center, you might have 8 to 10 people in your group, and then you do like a team activity where they
Okay.
give you a case study, and then you have 45 minutes to answer the
Present.
case study and present it as a group.
Okay.
So the catch in this is all 8 or 10 of you might go through or get through the next round, or none of you might get through the next round.
Ah,
So, or maybe even two or three might
very
go to the
tough.
next round. It's really tough. They're not looking for anything. This round is specifically them looking to see if you can work with other people or not. If you're listening to them, if you're attentive, if you're answering what they're actually asking you. And in general, like what your nature is. Like this is really important for employers like PwC because it's a global organization and you might have to work with clients from the other side of the world. So it's important to work on your soft skills for this stage of the round of the application process. And after that, that then comes the final stage, which is a one-on-one interview. So for me, I interviewed with two people. They were both partners and directors of the tax team at PwC.
Ah,
So
okay.
yeah, that was a 35-minute one-on-one interview and
Almost like a 5 round one.
5 rounds. Yeah,
Yeah.
5 rounds over the course of 4 months. That's the amount of effort and energy it takes, and it's not easy at all. It's really difficult. But I guess if you do enough applications and if you keep working on your resume, if you keep working on your soft skills, interviewing skills, yeah, that's what it takes to crack these jobs by the end.
Yeah, yeah, sounds very, very grilling. But I think if
Mm.
it's just process oriented and you're focused, I think, you know, there's still
Yeah,
a ray of hope.
yeah, yeah. I
There's,
guess in saying all of this, like I think I spoke too much, but the most important part about getting a job and the thing that they really care the most about is what you do outside of university in terms of your internships and your real life experiences. Because percentage or what they call over here WAM, it's weighted average marks at Monash is not a really big factor in cracking these jobs. Like that's something which they really are truthful about. You can have 90% in your course, or you could have 60%. But if the guy with 60% has 3 internships, they'll take him over the guy with 90% with who has no internship experiences.
okay, okay. So
Yeah.
you mean to say there's more weight given to a character, you know, a holistic personality, different experiences gained by that person. Moreover, not just academic performance.
Yeah, holistic development, sure, but it helps if your internships are in your field. So if you're someone who's doing commerce like me, it helped the fact that I had an internship in the financial planning sphere.
Got
Because yeah, because in the interview, that's what they're gonna ask you about. No one over here will ask you which subjects you did in uni or how many
Yeah,
marks you
yeah,
got.
yeah. That's
Literally,
just
no
a
one
foot
is
in the
asking.
door, I think. That is something which they have already filtered in the application form. The
Yeah,
data,
maybe.
quite
It's
the
really
data one.
different to
Yeah,
what it is in India. That's what I'll say. In
yeah, yeah,
India, marks are the way to filter people out.
yeah,
Like 70% and below can't apply, 70% and above can apply. Over here, that does not exist. Like even if you have 50%, you can apply to these jobs.
yeah.
So my suggestion for anyone who's planning to go abroad, especially to Australia and study, and with an aim of getting a job in the end, is that from day one, if you can, try and get a job in your field because part-time is one thing, but there is opportunity to intern at engineering firms or places like PwC have an amazing internship program as well. All the big firms have an internship program. They're called vacationals. These will run from November till Feb. And if you crack one of these, like you are almost guaranteed to get a return offer as well.
That's a beautiful point and tip for students, Yash, because
Mhm.
I think that's very important. I think also the employers are more confident about you, I feel, in
Yeah,
that case. And
absolutely.
also your
Yeah,
university also matters here, I feel, because they also let you know about all these things. Like as you mentioned that because of Monash, you also got an opportunity to work, have an industry experience because it was
right,
part of your curriculum.
right. Yes.
Yeah. So that's really great, Yash. Now, your journey has been exceptional, and you've cracked something like the not from an Ivy, from a group of eight to a top four employer. Journey is something which you have done, and I hope so. You're satisfied and proud of yourself because we are very proud of you about this doing that. When your parents told me about it, I was jumping with joy because that really helps and motivates me to what I do because such journeys of success is something which I feel is only when you walk this path. Otherwise, it won't be a possibility for most.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
I guess thanks for that.
Oh, absolutely, you deserve it. So, Yash, coming to the scenario about industries in, Australia,
Hmm.
what kind of areas you feel that are very, not very, nothing is easy, all that said and done, which are the other sectors or other areas where you see a lot of jobs or a lot of opportunities for Indian students? How would you be able to help us or assess those? Are there any that you have observed?
I'm so sorry. I got distracted reading the chat.
Yeah, there are some, we have to cover
Yeah.
that at the end.
At
Yes.
the end, do you
Yes.
mind just saying that question again? Because, yeah, sorry for that.
Yeah, I'm no, that's okay. I was asking Yash, apart from, so you've been into your area wherein you spoke about banking and finance, like the
Yep.
business side. Are
Mm.
there, apart from business areas, have you seen opportunities or have you seen other industry sectors where they need people or they are
Mm.
looking for, students to come in there and employ faster? Are there any areas which you have observed?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I would say business and commerce degrees are probably on the lower side
Huh.
when coming to a country like Australia, because
Okay.
most of the jobs, most of the opportunities, most of the easier opportunities, I'll say, are
Huh.
in other industries.
Okay.
So anything related to healthcare, it's just guaranteed that if you come
Okay.
over here, you study that, you will get a job,
Okay.
because they want people coming in with those degrees. Anything related to education, it's so hot in the market right now. If you come here to become a teacher, people do bachelor's of education or,
Yeah.
um,
Teaching.
yeah, teaching. And teaching is something which it pays really well as well in
Yeah.
this country. I think 80 to $90,000 a year as a grad teacher. So that's your first year out of university. That's what you make as a teacher. So I think I would suggest people to look up this information. It's easily available online in these industries, but I know most Indians will also prefer to do something like engineering, right? Like
Correct.
that's
Correct.
that's the bulk of your
Yes.
application.
Yes.
So engineering is obviously hot as well. I think mechanical engineering, chemical engineering, these are hot. IT and computer
That was
sciences.
always. And
Yeah,
Indians have proven the legacy in that. So I think
yeah, I think it's becoming oversaturated now because of how many people are doing it. But no, if definitely engineering is an industry where there is a lot of opportunity. Healthcare is an industry where there's a lot of opportunity. Teaching is an industry where there's a lot of opportunity. And if you look at
biomedical also, Melbourne, knowing Melbourne, it's one of the very hot spot for biomedical and biotechnology, right?
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. Australia's economy is dependent upon mining. So if you do something related to mining,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Correct. Petroleum engineering also, in fact, we had one in person. Oil and gas also in
oil
that.
and gas,
Yeah.
oil
Yeah.
and gas,
Yeah.
and these are
Construction
really,
management.
really good degrees to study. And yeah, there's a lot of opportunity to get like employed in these areas.
Yeah. So, Yash, thanks for these different sectors. Now, coming to the last point, because that's also a lot of Indian aspirants would love to know about. I know you've not walked that path, but if you have any insight towards gaining, the permanent residency path.
Mm,
So, in that case, because I personally, I'll let you know what I feel, because there's an SOL list which Australia brings in every year, right? The skill
mm,
list.
right.
Of course, it's a point system. The PR is a point system and stuff. But one is that do you leave what you really want to study to meet up and go to those SOL list courses only? Because I know you did banking and finance, right? So, some people leave certain areas just because they will go to area where they'll get those points. So I want to talk for both the points, the PR journey and also the SOL list. Like how much importance you'll give to that.
Yeah, I think that's a fantastic question.
Yeah, because I
Yeah.
really struggle out there to guide students because I have really some other thoughts to it, and I always feel that if you walk your path, you'll make it. But you let me
Yeah.
know about it. Yeah.
Yeah. Like you said, it's a points based system. Now the points will shoot up if you're doing, say you're a computer science student. The points to get a PR is the highest it's ever been. Or if you're an accounting student, it's the highest it's ever been. So doing these degrees, it's just luck based, or it's just how many points you can farm. If you do a degree like nursing, it's almost a guaranteed PR.
Yeah,
You might
teaching,
get your
nursing
PR
was
the day.
guaranteed.
Yeah.
Nursing, all these things, yeah, yeah.
Nursing, early child care
Childhood,
education, I think,
early
childhood
childhood teaching,
education.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so my acquaintance from uni, she from Monash itself, she did a bachelor's of education and business. So she graduated 3 months ago and she's already gotten a PR now because that's something which is on the SOL list or whatever.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
I think it's a very personal question because like you rightly
But
said,
but as you said, SOL list, even computer science is there in SOL list. A data scientist is also there in the SOL list.
right. The thing is now that there are so many of them, it's going to be taken off the priority list.
Hmm, hmm, hmm.
Yeah. So you like you said the points based system, right? The minimum to apply is 65 points in Australia.
Okay,
Computer science right now is 100 plus.
okay,
And yeah, the bulk of people after you study here, after you work, you hover somewhere around 90 to 95 points. So that's just an indicator of how many people are applying so that the points are getting shot up.
got it.
So yeah, obviously there is a chance to get it through the points-based system, but me personally, I feel like that should not be the factor behind choosing your degree because you're stuck in an industry for your whole life. So, I had my graduation ceremony last week, so my parents were here as well. So the chancellor said something which really which really resonated with a lot of people. And what she basically said was, do your work in an area which you really care about. Yeah, so for anyone coming over here, I would strongly suggest that study something you're passionate about. And because you're going to be working in that industry for the rest of your life, and points-based system is not the only way to get a PR. If you're working with an employer, they can sponsor you. So in that
Absolutely.
scenario, points go out of the window. And after that, they might even sponsor you for a PR. So there's that. But yeah, I know people a lot of people come and do nursing and all of those courses for the PR. Really, it really depends upon what your goals are, I guess.
Yeah. So, Yash, you absolutely resonated with what I believe. In fact, Education Street's tagline is end of education is character. So, what
Right.
you rightly said that if you walk the path, what you really love doing, you will
Mm,
any which ways find your path and you'll shine in it rather than being stuck and choosing misery. I would use the word
mm,
misery for the whole
right.
of your life because you're stuck with an area which you can't leave because now that's become your bread and butter. You have been attached to it for your life, at least for
Absolutely.
a long time. And that's exactly as a counselor, I tell students and parents. But what happens, Yash, why I asked you to answer it is this because a lot of people out in the industry here try to market these products as an SOL list. Go for this, go for this, go for this, go for this.
Mm,
When students like you who don't would speak about it, it will educate a lot of community out here,
mm,
because they'll believe you more,
right.
in this case. So I
Right.
wanted this only to come out of it, not by,
Yeah.
so students, I've not told him anything to speak the certain way. It's honestly he's speaking about it. What I mean to say is it's an kind of knowledge I want. What everybody gets from other people is information because that's the SOL list. And the agents just market it up. Oh, go for this. This course is
Right.
there. This course is there. This course is there.
PR courses.
And they bring suffering to students. And I
Right.
really want that, it's okay you stay here, but don't go and opt for a suffering. Don't opt for
Absolutely
suffering.
not.
Yeah, I mean,
And you
yeah,
know, the craziest thing about this is what's on the list today. Okay, say you're doing nursing because it's on the list. Now it's going to take you 4 years to 3 years in Australia to finish your nursing. The fact that it was on the list 3 years ago does not mean that it's going to be on the list
absolutely,
3 years from now.
absolutely.
So, like you said, computer science was on the priority list. I know for a fact that it's going to be taken off the priority list. So it's not
Correct.
it's an occupation, sure, but it's not a priority occupation anymore. So what's there today might not be the case 3 years from now, and choosing your degree based on that, I think it's a very big gamble. It might work out, it might not work out, but if it doesn't work out, the downside is unlimited because
But
then you're
personally,
just stuck.
it is a downward trip only. Now, forget about the laws and bylaws. Personally,
Yeah,
I have chosen something which I'm not capable or I don't like about it. So I am
yeah,
downward spirally, in that
yeah.
this thing.
You'll hate what you're doing. Like going to
Yeah,
university is just a
exactly,
drag.
exactly. So that's exactly that suffering is what I want students to not go through. This is what I wish every day, that students just opt for what they have to do. As much as I believe in studying abroad, because as Yash, people must have heard him out. It's the entire experiences which actually chisels you to be the kind of person you are. Yash,
Hmm.
I'm sure you would believe it, that what you were from your starting of your journey and what you are today, and at least your parents and everybody would see that journey in you. It's a complete different personality that you bring in. You evolve is the
Yeah,
right word. When you
yeah,
go outside, you step in a foreign land, you there's no other option but you evolve.
absolutely. And since my parents were here last 2 weeks as well, and I think it's been a very long time since last I went home was in Jan of last year, so
Oh.
roughly 16, 17 months. So now that they came over here, they're telling me things like, why do you sound different? Why do you look more mature? I'm like, I mean, I don't
You
know
wanted
because I
that.
as a person don't know the changes which have happened in me, but that's the second time I've heard that this phrase that you've changed over the last so and so period. So yeah, going
For good.
outside
Please
definitely
add that. For
broadens.
good.
Yeah, for good. So yeah, going outside, having an international exposures definitely broadens your horizons. You meet so many people from all walks of life and you interact with other nationalities and you study outside. It's different to how we are used to studying in India. So yeah, I would personally recommend it to everyone who can and does have the opportunity to do so.
Yeah, yeah. So I think we are left with last 10 minutes. So we have some questions to take in, but that's a beautiful point to sum up this entire session, what Yash has given. He's given a pearl of wisdoms to us. He's actually spoken about his journey. He's spoken about Australia, the part-time jobs, his cracking his job with PwC, and of course the entire experience, how he's evolved right now. So saying this, I would like to stick to the time what I've asked Yash to give us an hour. So Yash, there are certain questions. I'll read them out. If it possible, either you answer or I'll answer them. Okay, if it is suitable for this. So Prashanti has asked how much a student can make without compromising their education and how many hours you suggest for undergraduate. Would you be able to talk about this, Yash?
Yeah,
Yeah.
really fantastic question, I'll say. Well, I was working in Woolworths, which is a grocery store over here. So everyone who works there was a student at Monash. I was struggling with 10 hours a week. I'll be honest. 10 hours a week is two shifts of 5 hours, so 2 days. I was struggling to balance that because I was also in a student team at the time. But see, you can't work more than 20 hours anyway. I think 10 hours is a very sweet spot to also work part-time and to manage your education as well.
Okay, got it. Yeah. And for an undergraduate, probably that would be your suggestion, moreover.
Yeah,
Right?
10
Yeah.
hours. Yeah.
Yeah. So, so Maitri is asking, Maitri Patel, after student visa, we have to give IELTS again for PR? I think yes, right? Because IELTS is valid only for 2 years.
Yeah, they've
And you
changed
have
the
to give
rules
IELTS
now.
general later on.
Yeah. Oh, you can also give the PTE, which is the
Yeah.
Pearson's test. That's the more preferred English
Option.
requirement test over here. But yes, you do have to update it every few years.
Yeah, correct. Because validity is only for 2 years. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Rakesh Dash, a difference between someone who is in a premier institute and one who is not, does it make any difference? Very, very pressing question, Yash.
Very, very pressing question. Um, okay, very interesting answer. It does not make a difference. If your
Absolutely.
faculty
I
is
agree.
known for, say, you're doing architecture and you have an option of going to RMIT or going to Monash, the our architecture faculty at RMIT is better known in the industry. So you're better off going to RMIT, which is not in a GO8 group of eight institute, rather than going to Monash, which is. So your university premier institute doesn't matter. Make sure that the course you're going for, you look at that ranking individually.
Yeah. So I would also add to his answer, Rakesh. The difference of a premier institute and an other institute, it also depends, of course, saying that academically where you can reach. Okay, even that is one of the important point to understand. Second, I would say also resources that comes to the financial resources. Okay, I understand the fees are very high. If financial resources permit, and if it's okay, it's not an overstretch for your parents in that case, of course choosing a premier institute makes a point, because it will give you that kind of a network of students, because you'll have your cohort from that kind of genre and that kind of this thing. So I would say there are soft uh, benefits which goes behind it, the infrastructure, the kind of professors which are there, other students from different fields and stuff. But if academically and financially it is a challenging thing, going abroad itself in a normal university, like I would say, not any, but a good university, a decent university, is
Yeah.
still a great upliftment to do. Because as I summed up in the end, it's all about how you hustle and how it shapes you. It makes you as a personality, and then world is a game for you, because you'll be okay with any challenges coming to you. That's how it chisels you and shapes you. So I
Yeah.
hope, Rakesh, that adds to your points in that case. Yeah.
Ankita
Yeah.
ma'am, I just want to add a little something to it.
Yeah.
I think I said it too casually that it does make a difference because obviously if you're from a bigger university like MelU, University of Sydney, your opportunity there are companies which will exclusively hire from these places. So investment banking, high finance will not recruit from a random university. They only exclusively recruit from these universities. So keeping your end goal in mind while choosing your university is a very important thing.
Yeah. Correct. Correct. Yeah. Ankita Patil, does work experience in India are counted by the employers in Australia? Yes. Now, this
No,
is
you
very
need to have
important, because there are students equally, going with work experience and without experience.
nothing beats local work experience over here. Your foreign experience might be discounted heavily. It's your local experience which matters more, especially for early. I'm talking about early graduate positions because that's the exposure which I have towards. I can't speak for like seasoned professionals with 3 to 5 years of experience. I'm talking about an early career point of view.
Yeah, great. Makes sense. Yeah. Um, Rakesh, how about someone pursuing data analytics prospects? I think you spoke about computer science in general, yes, right?
Yeah.
Covering it. So data analytics, Rakesh would be one of the point. He sees there are a lot of opportunities, but don't go that this is going to be in the SOL list forever.
Mm.
But that doesn't mean there are no job opportunities in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mayur,
Everyone's studying computers.
yeah, yeah, it has to be there. The need in computers is always ever growing. So I personally feel it will be there always. Yeah. Mayur, what about the scope regarding business management or operation or analyst field to pursue MS? Kesh, any idea on this, or is it?
I don't think I can
Yeah.
correctly answer this question because
Okay.
I don't have an exposure towards
Yeah.
these.
So, Mayur, it depends on, if you're talking about business management or operations, basically you're talking about a business degree. I personally see a lot of opportunities in supply chain, typically in Australia. Whatever I have studied and I've understood, supply chain and project management have been very good areas again in Australia. So yes, those could be considered, going further. All right. So I think we will have to have Yash go. I understand we need a lot of to know from him, but I would not take further time being
Th-
particular. Yeah,
This
yeah, yeah.
last question is a really good one. I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
we
yeah.
should
You
answer
want to
this.
take, because I
Yeah,
was more considered about I was yeah. So I'll read it out. What is the
yeah.
scope of getting a job with undergrad in Australia, or from India doing BTech and masters in Australia? Which one is best choice for settlement?
What do they mean by settlement?
Basically, citizenship.
Citizenship. Okay. Yeah, that's a good question. Most of the people, locals over here, you'll find that no one ever does a master's degree.
Yeah, that's true everywhere. US,
Yeah.
everywhere, everywhere.
US. Bachelor's is all you need. Bachelor's is all employers
Yeah,
will look.
yeah, yeah.
If you have a master's, most of them are doing, who are internationals are doing masters. It's good to have one. And obviously, if you're doing it from a university, both are equal. Grad roles will have both masters and undergrad people applying for it.
Hmm, hmm. Yeah, yeah. So I agree with your point, and that's why I tell to a lot of parents who are considering to send their child abroad at undergraduate level to consider Australia. But that's another challenge which I have with parents because they always have US and UK in mind, you know. That's how the chain is. So
Yeah,
I keep saying that, you know, Australia is a great place to be because it has opportunities for undergraduate students because bachelor's is more than enough to crack a good job in Australia.
absolutely.
Yes,
Yep.
yes, yes, yes. All right. So I see more questions, but sorry guys, we'll have to have Yash go. It's very late for him. He's talking from Australia. So thank you so much, Yash. You saw there was so much that we spoke about, and you brought light to so many points. So thank you so much. And people who would like to know more, you can get in touch with us and Yash as well. We'll have these videos as well on other platforms, but we'll let you know. We do a lot of countries. We support Australia, UK, Germany, Canada, Ireland, New Zealand, Netherlands at Education Street. So if you're looking forward for any assistance, we would love to counsel you. I use the word counsel because I really love mapping your career and your steps ahead to what will teach you or get you there. So saying this, yes, we are counselors. We are just not mere agents or representatives of certain universities. If you want to know more about us, you can get in touch with us at Education Street. My team has shared the links at Instagram, at Facebook or YouTube. We come with a lot of videos you can see on the snapshots as well. So at Education Street is our page. You can get in touch with us. This is the number, this is the email ID. My personal email ID is ankita at educationstreet.in instead of info. And this is our website. Yes, if you would like to give your personal email ID in case if the student want to get in touch with you. Email ID. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll put it in chat. So
Yes. 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 Yes.
everyone who wants to reach out can reach out to me at this email.
Yeah.
It's in chat.
Yeah. So Yash has given his email ID as well. And I'm sharing my email ID as well for people to get in touch with us. Yes, any last words or anything that you would like to conclude this session? The beautiful session we had. I'm so happy.
Just thanks for having me. It's been, like you said, it's been a really good journey so far, and obviously it started off by talking to you and all the other counselors at Education Street and getting an exposure towards all the courses and opportunities that are in other countries as well. So yeah, you've been a fundamental part of my journey as well. So thanks a lot for that. And yeah, I think I just want to conclude it by like just to everyone and anyone who's watching this. Um, this has been a really positive session by far. So I hope that people got an answer to their questions to a satisfactory level. But everyone has to be really, really aware of the fact that nothing is easy. And in a country, especially like Australia, when you compare it to the US, like you will have to fight much harder for your opportunities over here, whether it's especially in terms of getting a full-time job, like you have to be prepared to really put in the work and really put in the hours because it won't come easy, and that's something which has to be drilled into everyone's head who's watching this.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's really a good essence to take. You need to hustle. You really need to hustle. But
For
there is
sure.
there is a ray of hope at the end of the tunnel, and Yash is a symbol for that, and he's shown us the path. And there are so many stories that we come in. That's why we have students because it brings a very different kind of perspective for them. So thank you, Yash, for your kind words. your kind wisdom, your deep wisdom, and definitely it will go very helpful for students. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, pleasure. Bye bye. See ya.
Bye. See ya.